This is the website Macro Trends, and I have basically set it up to search for companies with a market cap of over 10 billion and a PE ratio of at least 0.1, and that is to take out any companies that are not profitable. And I've asked it to show me the top performing companies meeting those criteria year to date. And I want you to look at the top 10. Symbotic, Supermacro, NVIDIA, Meta Platforms, Palantir, Carnival, DraftKings, Tesla, Coinbase, and Samsara. I'm willing to bet you recognize 8 of those names, but you don't recognize Samsara and you don't recognize Symbotics. What I'd like to do is teach you about Symbotics because I'm contemplating putting Symbotics on my BUS12. These are the people who are going to deliver artificial intelligence and machine learning in the future. And these are the companies that are going to prosper as they change the world we live in. Let me give you just a short view of what Symbotics is.
Best of Us Investors presents Carrie Griegmeyer.
That's Symbotics. Now let's go to Seeking Alpha and see what their history is. As it shows here, in the past year, up 145%. Year to date, up 242%. Last month, up 2.0%. And 5 days, down 4. So maybe it's a buying opportunity. What I want you to understand is their largest customers are Walmart, Target, Albertsons, and the largest natural food company in the world. What they're doing is basically taking the human being out of the factory and making the delivery, the supply chain driven by robotics. They haven't been in business all that long, as you can see here with the 5-year. They basically got into business in 2001 or became a publicly traded company. Let's look at their financials. That's where I always start. And as you can see, in 2020, they did $92 million worth of business. They now have tenfold increased that. What they've done is they started out as an engineering company and a manufacturer. Over the last couple of years, they've outsourced their manufacturing because they find they're growing at such a rate that they have to find more people to help them fill their demand for their product. They have a backlog right now of orders for their product of $12 billion. And as you see, their revenues haven't reached 1 million yet. So at the pace they are right now, they've got 12 years of business out there. So they're going and finding other manufacturers to do the manufacturing as the supply chain is demanding that we go to robotics. Are they profitable? Operating income of a negative 200 million. And so they are not profitable, but they do have a PE ratio because their projected earnings are positive. And so if we go to earnings estimates, we can see that in 2023, they're anticipated having a negative earnings of 0.8%. In 2024, or 0.8 cents. In 2024, it will be 24 cents, then 63 cents, and then $1.29. This is a company that I would encourage you to do what I have done, and that is to go to the here on Seeking Alpha and listen to their second quarter report. This is a cool part of Seeking Alpha. You can actually open it up and read their report, and what you will see in the reading of this report is that they're growing at leaps and bounds. They, up until recently, last year, basically did all the manufacturing themselves, and they realized they couldn't keep up with it. So they're outsourcing it to other sources. They've had some of the losses they've incurred in this past quarter was as a result of them shutting down 2 plants that were manufacturing their product and switching out to outsourcing. They have a tremendous growth profile in front of them. Their earnings were up, I believe it was 167% quarter over quarter. What I'd also want you to know about the feature here on Seeking Alpha is you can click here and it will play, it will read this dialogue to you. So what I find is I can read it myself and listen to it at the same time. And in fact, I can speed it up to 1.25 and keep up with my speeding or reading. It's going to take you about 45 minutes, but I'd strongly suggest you invest 45 minutes to learn what Symbotic is all about. The next thing I did was bring the data that I've gathered over to my Excel spreadsheet where I analyze the data and put it in a form that I can interpret and come up with a projection as to what the stock price might be in the future. And is it overvalued? Is it undervalued? What is its circumstances? And as you can see here, all I have to do is enter the ticker here, and that gives me a lot of these numbers. The numbers, for the most part, that are in the black, those that are in the blue, I then go to Seeking Alpha and transport them over here. So what I'm seeing here is that it's telling me it's a $22.8 billion market cap company. It's not showing a PE ratio because of current quarter. It's not shown profit, but its forward PE based on its anticipated earnings is 257, which is a bit outrageous. There are 555 what would that be, million shares out there. So the first thing I look at is revenue, and this is what you saw when I showed you the Seeking Alpha revenue. They've grown leaps and bounds. 2020, when they went public, was 92 million. They're now up to 893 million. So a tenfold increase in revenues. Again, a betterment in losses. And again, this is a company that is starting from scratch. and went through a process of they were doing everything. They were manufacturing the product. They determined that the demand was so high that they couldn't keep up with the demand doing the manufacturing themselves. They wanted to do the engineering, create the software, and then go and contract with outside suppliers to generate the product for them. So they've brought their losses down, and they've put themselves in a position where it's anticipated that in 2024 they will go positive, and they will go positive very big. As you see, a negative income of a negative 39 million to a positive 133, followed by a 349, by a 716, and we don't know what it's going to be in, there's no projections for 2027. And understand, this is a company that is basically going to Target and to Walmart and Albertsons and basically anybody who has a distribution center, and saying, we can build you the robots, and we can give you the artificial intelligence and the machine learning capabilities for you to basically eliminate your expense by human beings. You'll have to have some human beings, but they'll be technicians, and we'll train them. Now, the other thing I like about this company is they sell what they call systems, and that system is all these robots, all the software, all the different mechanical parts of it, and then they have a reoccurring income in that they maintain that system and they update that system. They basically say that you will, for what you spend on this system, you will save over the next 25 years a tenfold. So it makes warehousing, it makes distribution much more profitable. The other element in this that I like is, from what I've read and what I suggest you read, is they're reaching some economies of scale. They're getting better and faster and more efficient at making these systems, and so their gross margins are going up, and their operating margins are going up as well. The other thing they emphasize is their margins on their selling the systems are going to be they're currently about 20%. They are striving to reach 30%, but on the reoccurring income, the maintenance that they charge the companies with the warehouses, their gross margins there are 60%. So they're going to become more and more profitable, and that's reflected in this earnings per share projections. So I see a stock that's currently selling at $41 per share. They could reach 2005. Calculated this increase in price by basically saying that this is the price, the current price, which is my line, H65, and then I'm increasing it based on the 400% increase, and that's how I come up with that price. Now, that assumes that we still have the same PE ratio. So I would say that that's a bit overstated, and I would be willing to say that that price is probably going to be more in the neighborhood of somewhere around $100 per share. I see some potential growth, and even if it isn't 100, if it's only 75, I just see a company that is answering a tremendous problem that is being facilitated by the change in artificial intelligence and machine learning, and then the change of what BUS13 is doing is providing the computing power necessary to run a system like what they have. I would ask you to, and again, put this into perspective. How much computing power is involved in a distribution center that is being run by human beings right now? That you have pickers going and picking boxes, putting in the back of of a golf cart and then putting them on a line and then humanly packing them into a truck. That's all being done now by robotics, and that's going to require a tremendous amount of computing power, and that's why BUS13 is going to grow, and that this is why BUS12 is going to grow, because we're going to now put in BUS12 those companies that are going to deliver AI. Okay, that's the sum total of the research I've done this weekend. I shared with you on Sunday my research on Palantir and how it was the first entry onto BUS12. Those companies that are going to deliver AI to the corporations and the rest of the world over the future. Again, Palantir is probably the most advanced company in AI and machine learning relative to government needs and cybersecurity and things of that nature. And I'm convinced Symbotic is going to be a growing company. I'm going to look for a good price because it is highly valued right now, but I will find my way into it, I'm quite sure, probably this week. I encourage you to do your due diligence. Don't take what Kerry says as gospel. He was wrong. He was early to the dance on genome sequencing and genome editing. So do your own research and read and listen to the quarterly calls, and you see if you don't think that Symbotic is a player for the future and belongs on BUS12. I encourage you to join our tribe. We're a group of people who are working together. In fact, Symbotic was not my idea. It was Bill's. He wrote me and said, take a look at this stock. Otherwise, I would not have found it. I then dug some deeper, and it popped up on my microtrends search, and that led me down this path. That's what I'm all about. I'm looking for the companies that are going to change our world, because our world is about to change dramatically. So join me on a cup of coffee, and let's get rich together.